Right now, there is a $3 mixture in your kitchen. It eliminates all mold species on contact and destroys the roots. It completely prevents regrowth for months after just one application. Scientists have confirmed that it eradicates up to 99% of all common household mold species living inside your home. However, it has been removed from the labels of all major cleaning products. This didn't happen because it ever failed, but simply because it worked too well. A solution this cheap cannot be sold in a bottle for $30. A remedy this simple cannot keep the same customer coming back next month. What cannot be owned cannot be turned into perpetual revenue, and what cannot generate profits is buried from public knowledge. This is the story of the $3 mold remover that a massive $2 billion cleaning industry needs you to never discover. If you are not yet subscribed, hit subscribe and the bell to preserve what they tried to erase. This is where we uncover what the outdoor and cleaning industry has buried and spent decades ensuring you never find. Currently, 45 million buildings in the United States have unhealthy levels of mold growing inside their walls. That figure comes from a study published in the major journal Indoor Air in 2017 by Mudari and Fisk. These same researchers found that 21% of every asthma case in the United States is directly attributable to the mold and moisture exposure found in the average American home. It's not just seasonal allergies or temporary sensitivity, it is real asthma, the kind that sends children to the ER every year. The CDC and the World Health Organization confirm this finding. Living in a building with mold increases the measurable risk of developing respiratory diseases. Those are their exact words. And yet the real answer has been in your cupboard for decades. This information is just the surface of everything they hid from you. I have compiled everything the cleaning industry doesn't want you to know, including fire-making techniques used by military survival units that are now classified as dangerous by all major equipment manufacturers. There are emergency shelters that cost absolutely nothing and outperform every $200 tent sold by the biggest outdoor brands. There are homemade water filters that professional engineers tested in disbelief, natural repellents that indigenous tribes mastered centuries ago, and the complete natural cleaning protocols that corporations spent billions to keep permanently off every product label sold. There are more than 10 guides in one place. No fluff, straight to the point. But stay here with me, because the story has only just begun. Let's go back together to where this particular story begins in 1928. Alexander Fleming is working deep inside a research lab at St. Mary's Hospital in London, England. He notices something completely impossible appearing on a petri dish. A common patch of household mold has spread across the glass surface, but around it, every bacterial colony has died. The mold had produced something that killed everything surrounding it. Fleming calls it penicillin. The entire world calls it a miracle. But here is the critical part that all the history books leave out. Families who had been fighting household mold for centuries already understood the exact same biological principle in action. They knew that certain acids actively destroy the cell wall of fungal organisms when applied in the correct concentration. They knew that alkaline environments completely suffocate mold from the root. They knew that oxidation breaks down the full molecular structure of airborne mold spores before they can even find a surface. They didn't need a lab or a government research grant. They just needed a pantry and 3 generations of observation. In the 19th century, families across rural England actively documented the removal of mold from stone walls using diluted vinegar. Church records from Somerset in 1842 explicitly described washing damp stone with white vinegar and baking powder, not as an experiment of any kind, but as a standard household protocol. In the rural Appalachian region, that same practice is recorded in handwritten household diaries from the 1870s. Women documented combining white vinegar, water, and baking soda to permanently remove mold from beams in the walls of old cellars. It worked every time for every family that used it. The recipe was passed freely from mother to daughter for generations. It didn't require any specialized product from any commercial supplier. It didn't require any professional remediation services charging hundreds. It didn't require anything that could be sold, patented, or owned. If you've made it this far, you already know more about mold than 99% of the people standing in a hardware store aisle. In 1950, the entire U.S. cleaning products industry had fully consolidated its market around synthetic chemistry. Bleach became the universal default answer for everything. Companies like Procter& Gamble invested massive sums in shelf presence, massive advertising campaigns, and regulatory lobbying. The message remained simple and was etched into every household. Only lab-made chemicals are powerful enough to protect your home. Your grandmother's methods are dangerous, primitive, and ineffective. Trust the product. Trust the label. Do not question either. And slowly, over two full generations, the knowledge faded away. Not because the old ways had stopped working at some point, but because they simply stopped being taught to anyone forever. So, what exactly is in this potent $3 formula? Let's start with the science the labels refuse to show. Distilled white vinegar is between 5% and 8% acetic acid. According to research compiled in multiple peer-reviewed studies, acetic acid penetrates mold directly into the hyphal structure, the root system that allows mold to anchor and regrow on surfaces. It disrupts the pH environment that the fungus needs to survive. Vinegar alone kills up to 82% of mold species tested under controlled laboratory conditions, including black mold varieties. That data comes from documented cleaning research, published and shared across independent home health and environmental science institutions. That is 82% from a bottle that costs less than $2 total. Now add the second ingredient, baking soda. Its pH level sits between 8 and 9 on the alkaline scale. Most mold species only survive in environments with a pH below 7, meaning they only colonize the slightly acidic range they prefer. Baking soda creates chemically hostile conditions for fungal growth. It kills the mold already present and leaves a protective residue that makes it significantly harder to regrow for weeks and months afterward. A 2017 study confirmed that baking soda successfully inhibited mold growth even on organic agricultural surfaces outdoors. A box of baking soda costs about $1 at any store. The combination of these two ingredients is where the science becomes something that none of the major cleaning brands want printed on a label. Vinegar kills active mold colonies through a direct acid attack. Baking soda simultaneously neutralizes the underlying surface chemistry, preventing surviving spores from finding conditions to regrow. Used together correctly, they attack the same problem from two sides, and they do it for less than $3 in total material cost. This is the part of the story where the numbers get uncomfortable. The global mold inhibitors and cleaning products market is currently valued at $2.2 billion in 2025. That figure comes from an SNS Insider Market study published in February 2026 after extensive analysis. Those companies include Clorox, Procter& Gamble, Reckitt Benckiser, SC Johnson, and dozens of other household name chemical corporations. They all sell a product for mold and mildew removal. Each of those products contains synthetic chemical compounds. Each of them costs between $8 and $40 per bottle. None of them work significantly better than vinegar alone on standard, non-porous household surfaces in independent testing. You cannot patent white vinegar or control who sells it tomorrow. You cannot create a proprietary baking soda version to own the market. You cannot create customer dependency with something that costs $1. The entire business model of the cleaning products industry depends on selling branded chemicals that you believe only they can manufacture. Vinegar and baking soda represent everything that model rejects. They are cheap, they are everywhere, they are completely unpatentable, and they work. That is the combination that cannot be tolerated. So instead of the truth, they taught you to buy the orange bottle. They taught you that natural solutions are unreliable and primitive. They told you that professionals use real chemistry, not old remedies. And it worked. The market reached $2 billion, confirming it. Here is what you should do with a $3 solution right now. Get distilled white vinegar in a clean spray bottle. Do not dilute it. Spray the moldy surface completely and let it sit for a full hour without touching or disturbing the treated area. During that hour, the acetic acid penetrates the mold structure and breaks down the cell wall of every colony on that surface. After 1 hour, scrub the area with a stiff brush until it is completely clean. Rinse with warm water and dry the surface as best as possible. Mix 1/4 tablespoon of baking soda into a cup of clean water. Spray the same surface again with the baking soda solution you've prepared. Let it dry completely without rinsing. Leave the residue in place. That baking soda residue changes the surface pH permanently to make regrowth significantly harder over the following weeks. One treatment for under $3. No fumes, no toxic residue. Safe for children, pets, and any surface you touch without damaging it. A campsite, a tent, a tarp, a wooden shelter, a basement wall, a van. The same solution works everywhere. Mold seeks moisture to survive. The knowledge didn't die out because it stopped being effective. It was buried because what is effective and cheap cannot coexist profitably. Your great-grandmother knew it. Your grandmother knew it before her. For 100 years, this passed from family to family at no cost. Then 50 years of advertising convinced a generation it wasn't right. If this story has changed the way you look at common items in your pantry, subscribe and like this video. We are bringing to light the history and solutions they have tried to bury for money. Help us preserve this knowledge and share it with someone who needs to remember what the industry made us forget. Every person who finds this information is one less customer for them. The next discovery is coming soon, and what we find next will be even more important.